at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Leslie Marshall is a syndicated radio talk show host. Lars Larson is one as well, and Leslie's also a Fox News contributor. All right, panel, so that's the question is, they say, we understand that the president may have taped his Saturday radio address in advance, which may sort of excuse the no reference to Japan, Lars, but not so much on the fronts of Libya or the budget crisis or some of the other things that people are saying he needs to be taking up.
Barack Obama is not just tone deaf, he has an aversion to leadership. And a lot of us have been pointing this out since the campaign. The man has never really been able to be a leader. In the Illinois Senate, he would avoid votes like the plague. He would vote present. Well, he's voting present now as president. As you pointed out, he's avoided leadership on the budget. He's avoided leadership on Libya. He certainly didn't do much of anything when they were marching in the streets of Tehran, and there were opportunities there. And he's not doing much on the Japanese quake, tsunami, and nuclear emergency. So he has an aversion to leadership. He's more concerned with March Madness right now, I think.
That's what we keep hearing from his critics, Leslie, is that it's an abdication of leadership, that while we sort of are weighing in on Libya, we're weighing in on Japan, we're weighing in on, the budget, we meaning the White House, he's not leading on any of these issues.
Well, I would disagree, and Lars, I love you, but I think you were tone deaf because he did talk Friday, 24 hours before the Saturday radio broadcast, about Libya, about Japan. He met with Democratic leaders in the Senate about the budget last week. And we even have those on the right, Megan, like Senator Lugar, who say, listen, with Libya, we need to be very cautious about establishing a no-fly zone. This could result in long-term military intervention. That is agreed upon by our allies throughout the world, by UN, by NATO. Our Secretary of State, Hillary Rodham Clinton, is working with other world leaders regarding what to do with Libya, and as well as our wonderful military and our Pentagon. So I don't think the president's out of touch. I do agree it was probably recorded prior. But as a woman, the fact that we're still not getting equal pay, Megan, we haven't come a long way.
We do care about that.
Needed to address it.
We do care about that. But, obviously, I think even you and I can agree that, what's happening in Japan right now is obviously a bigger headline than the equal pay issue right now. But, Lars, let me ask you this. Even the West Virginia Democratic Senator Joe Manchin came out and said, Joe Manchin came out and said Obama has failed to lead. He said President Obama, quote, has failed to lead, in particular on this budget issue, which we're going to have much more on in our next hour. But yet again today, they're talking about whether they should pass this continuing resolution to fund the government for the next few weeks. And this is a Democrat saying, where is our leader?
Joe Manchin is a good member of the Democrat Party, and he was right. It takes courage to stand up and tell a president to bell the cat, if you will, and say, Mr. President, this will only be resolved when you lead. But you see, Joe Manchin has, even though he's a Democrat, and I may disagree on other things, he has leadership qualities because he's been a leader. As a former governor, he knows what it is to lead. As an Illinois state senator, as a U.S. senator who spent most of his time running for president, President Obama does not have any leadership qualities or leadership skills. So talk all you want, Leslie. The fact is, leadership is not just talking. There are lots of people who talk. To lead, you have to show people the way. And in fact, if President Obama had been doing his job, he would have said to his party last fall, you have a budget that is due on October 1st. If they had passed the budget as required by law on October the 1st, we wouldn't have all these CRs and have a government that limps along on a weekly budget, going from one budget to the other. That's not leadership, and I don't think this president is leading. You tell me that his talk is leadership, I don't buy it,
Go ahead, Leslie.
Well, Lars, what you're talking about is not a commander-in-chief. It's a dictator, basically telling his congressional members, especially those in his party, don't, do what I say or else. Bottom line here is these people on both sides of the aisle are $50 billion apart, okay? Who wants to cut defense? Right turns their head. Who wants to cut entitlement programs? Both sides turn their head because it's political suicide. Since the first of the year, we have 10,000 people a day entering into these entitlement programs for the next 19 years. The president put forth the budget. Republicans don't like it. They dog it. Even the Democrats have their own version. It is their job. If you put the president in the room, that's not going to change how far apart these two sides are.
Well, Joe Biden was the one who was supposed. Joe Biden was the one who was supposed to be taking the leadership on this, and then he went to Russia. And, he got criticized for that, but then the White House said, well, he made phone calls back to Washington from Russia. But let me ask you this, and then I got to wrap it up. Leslie, the president was also criticized because, this happens with every president, and, you can argue about whether it's valid, but I want to ask you, he not only on Saturday did his radio address focus on equal pay instead of any of these issues, he went golfing, and now today he's picking his NAACP, lineup. And some folks are saying, look, we've got tens of thousands dead in Japan. They need our help. Yes, you've dispatched something, but set the tone. Do something to show the world that we're taking this seriously, and not so much with the photo ops with the NAACP and golfing.
Okay. We have sent
Not
money
NAACP,
and
NCAA.
we have sent money and we have sent resources, and our Navy, which is the best in the world, is there. The last thing I would say is I was told God took the 7th day off, so if God gets a day off, why not our president?
Lars, how about it? NCAA picks today? I mean, we are actually having a segment on the NCAA.
That Freudian slip was right.
I can't get the acronyms right.
With those. I know. He's more concerned with those things. The fact is that reminding Congress of its legal obligation last fall is not being a dictator, Leslie. Believe me. And leadership is being able to sit down in the room with disparate parties and bring them together. This man does not have those skills, and you know it, and you have to suggest that, he can't be a dictator. He doesn't need to be. He needs to show the country the way. That's what a real leader does, and Barack Obama is no real leader.
All right, guys, I got to go. And just for the record, we're having a segment on the NAACP and what's happening in Dayton, Ohio. In 1 hour, the president making his picks on the NCAA today. Lordy Christmas. Thank you both, Leslie and Lars. Always a pleasure.
Love it.
It's just too long to say long form, but apparently